Hello everyone, I'm Delayne Sigerman. I'm currently on the Kerrville City Council in Place 4, and several months ago I began to be curious to see how businesses in Kerrville are handling the pandemic and all that goes with it. So we've had Center for Fitness, we've had the Diedrich Center on, we've had the Callow Playhouse 2000, and now today it is my pleasure to introduce to you Joe Herring of Herring Printing.
Hi.
And so I'm going to let you just tell us a little bit about your history. I've read up on it. I know you're like the second generation.
Correct.
And you have a third generation Herring
Correct.
working here as well.
Correct.
So it's great to see a company that's been
Thank
around
you.
that long.
There's actually been a print shop in this site since World War II.
Wow.
And my parents bought the print shop from a family named Hunter. And it was Hunter Printing Company. Then my parents bought it in 1964. And Judy, my sister and I bought the company from my mother after my father passed away in 2012. And my son works here, so it's a family thing. Although, we have a crew that deserves more of the credit than we do.
Well, you have a great team, and I've used you personally. I've used you for other needs when I've had a printing need, and I've been so pleased.
Thank you.
They give you the extra touch too. That's always a nice thing.
Thank
You know, early on, you and I talked about what happens when your print shop's interrupted with this closing down of business. So you mentioned a few things that you normally would do printing for, like the Kerrville Folk Festival. And so tell us a little bit about how that worked.
I was not aware until this happened how many of our customers are holding events that require a lot of people being together. And so, yeah, we've done the Folk Festival printing probably since the 1970s, and they didn't have one.
Right.
We do a lot of political printing and for campaigns,
Right.
and the election was postponed. And camps, we were not worried so much for us. Those families that are running those camps, some of them aren't having camp this summer.
Right.
And so those are our major accounts. And we were concerned that, I mean, we thought we would make it, but we were so concerned about some of our customers because like Kerrville Folk Festival is a nonprofit. And this year especially, I would imagine they're a nonprofit. So anyway, we did not realize until now that many of our products are geared to having large groups of people being together. And
And there were a lot.
they're
More than you
work.
probably thought of.
We didn't never realize that was
That
was
gonna
our
be
criteria.
Missing in action at that moment.
That's true.
Well, it looks like that you have survived very nicely. I know you're such a historian, so I can't help but to ask this question, and I know you weren't there during earlier pandemics. You weren't there, but I know you know a little bit about them. So maybe you could. How do we compare to I think was it the influenza
Yeah.
of 1900?
Kerrville really owes its history to several pandemics, one of which was the tuberculosis pandemic. A lot of the families that came to Kerrville originally came here because someone was sick with tuberculosis, and that includes the Butt family who started HEB, and that includes the Grinsteads who had the Mountain Sun. Just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of families came here because someone in their family was very sick with tuberculosis. We also survived the 1918 flu pandemic, which ravaged portions of our community, including a neighborhood around the Lemus Street area.
Okay.
And they actually blocked it off where you could not come in and go out. And the heroics of people like Father Kemper, who brought in food, brought in blankets, brought in beds, brought in medicine, went to San Antonio and convinced 2 nuns to come down here and nurse. And they lost some folks, but they averted disaster. And then another pandemic that we really had effect on our history was the polio pandemic. And the reason that had an effect was a lot of people wanted to escape the lowland area around Houston and come up to the hills because there was less incidence of polio here. And that's really the foundation for the summer camps. The kids would come up here to summer camp to get away from, basically, to get away from the incidence of polio.
Interesting. For your business, just to keep active and keep business going in some fashion, what were some things that you learned, some new tricks, or have some new ideas about keeping it going?
Well, the first step was to take care of the crew. And so, as you know, we have a lot of people they're working from home today. So about half the crew is here at any one time. And we're all basically in separate rooms from each other. The second was to notify our clients that they could order online. And so suddenly a lot more people were visiting our website to send us orders or to ask for prices when they used to would have called us or emailed us. And lastly, we've been just trying to reach out to our clients because, you know, the customers we deal with, we've been dealing with many of them for decades. And the first thing we ask is, how are you doing? How is your business doing? How is your organization doing? And what can we do to help? And it's been real rewarding. A lot of people that we contacted like that said, no one has asked us how we're doing. And so it was nice that.
I think it's one of the things that's happened through this whole experience for everybody is, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to do these interviews is, so while I'm absorbed with my own challenges, what's going on with all the other businesses, and there's, you know, many businesses, restaurants and printing and theater, and so I realized my challenges were somewhat small sometimes compared to some of the other businesses.
And we benefited from some of the government programs. We received a payroll protection program loan,
Good.
which helped. Everybody that was on staff at the beginning is still on staff today, and it's largely due to that program.
So you're open for business.
Indeed.
And has that been easy or challenging is still to continue to interact with your customers? And
We're interacting in different ways, but I've noticed something when, in the old days, when someone would call in, they were I need this, and goodbye. And now when they call in, we talk for a while. We visit. How are you doing? How's your family? What's going on? And it's been a lot more fun to visit with people because we can't see each other in person. A lot of people, and this was an open concept office. And so people would come in and just visit, even when they didn't have an order. And we've really missed having a door that's open. We've had to block off our offices and stay 6 feet away. And although I was never a hugger, after this I may become one because I just miss contact with people so much.
so you were comfortable opening up to the extent that you have, and
Right.
You're plugging along, and do you see business picking up?
Business, right that first month was just off. Everything that could canceled.
Right.
And so we still had business, but it was very little compared to what we were used to. We're kind of hoping this month we regain profitability. But right now we're right.
You need me to order something?
Oh, please do,
Before I
yeah,
leave, I'll
please
do
do.
something.
No, that's not what I'm saying. We anticipated that we were going to have a problem.
Right.
And we're down compared to last year, and our profitability is down compared to last year because a lot of the big ticket things we do just haven't happened.
Right.
And I'm proud that we're about to break even again because given what the entire world's been through, our problems here have been really small. We've been blessed with good customers, good crew, and patient people. It's nice.
So you were on city council and you were a mayor, right?
I was.
And
Many
tell us
years
what,
ago.
many years ago, you don't have to say what year, but you had your own challenges. I think you were talking about banks closing during the time you were mayor.
Right.
And how,
Every bank in Kerrville failed except one. And property values went down 2 or 3 times. So our property tax revenues were down, and sales tax revenues were down. And so we had a lot of fiscal challenges that really never, I don't think they were ever focused in the community. We had a strong city manager who kept us above water, but it caused me to lose a little sleep every now and then.
I think our current mayor probably has too.
I feel for him. I'm proud that he's mayor right now, and I am not.
Well, yeah, I think he's doing a great job, if I could be so bold to say
I agree.
so.
I agree. Bill's a good guy.
He is. Is there anything though that you feel like maybe the city could still do a little more of, or you would, not having a playbook, to go by. We've all kind of had to maneuver through this using just common sense, or what do you think is the best thing to do now? Better safe than sorry, you know. So perhaps we've been very careful and cautious starting out. Were there any notes that came to mind that you made that you would have done differently, or we could have done better at, or?
I'm sure everybody thinks they could do something better, but the important thing that y'all did consistently, and the city staff did consistently, was communicate. Here's what's happening. Here's what we're doing. That you would have the video shows for the various, the hospital head and Shriner, and they all got up and said what was going on. Communication during this time is the most important thing, and having enough courage to say, we don't have the answer. This is what we're doing right now. This is what we think is going to happen, but we don't know. And rather than just be blustery and say, either there's no problem or, you know, we've got 85 plans for it. Just keeping the community in the loop. Now, and the community obviously is half of them are going to disagree and half of them agree, and that's fine.
We're kind of used to that.
Yeah, I've been there.
I'm glad you and your family have fared well.
No one in the crew has had a illness, and
Good.
no one in our family.
I know we have a historical museum about to
Hopefully.
come to life at some
Hopefully.
point. So that's called the Heritage.
It's called the Heart of the Hills Heritage Center. A mouthful.
Is it kind of just on the shelf right now? And
Well, that depends on a lot of things. Obviously, the city's commitment is relevant to tax revenue.
right.
And obviously, the foundations we approach have had some funding, not issues, but
Redistribution.
yeah, they've
possibly.
had some other priorities right now. And so I think until the world,
Calms down.
yeah, I think we're probably on hold.
Let's see. I guess the one thing, you're such an integral part of our city.
You're nice to say.
It's the truth. What do you love most about Kerrville?
Well, the people, obviously, even the ones I disagree with. Because if you're someone like me that has studied, 100 years of history here, or 200 years of history in our area, these conflicts are not new. It's just the names are different. And there were people fussing about wearing masks in 1918, and that's the truth. When I was on city council and I studied past city councils, I noticed a lot of the issues we were fighting with had already happened. Like we were worried about the landfill, we were worried about water rates, we were worried about so many different things, but we weren't the first ones working on that. And so the thing I like most about Kerrville and Kirk County are the people, even the ones that I don't agree with.
I feel the same way. I mean, you just have to love this town, and I will say you really see the true colors, which are so bold and beautiful and brave, that come out during the pandemic. So, not that I want to ever see it again.
No.
Well, Joe, is there anything you'd like to add besides what I've asked you today?
Yes. I'm thankful for this. This is a way to communicate with our community. I'm thankful for your hard work. I have actually been in that seat before. I was actually placed 2, but it's a hard job.
It's an even number. So.
It's a hard job, and I know people say it's a thankless job, but thank you for all that you've done and for the council.
It isn't always thankless, though. It's not about monetary rewards. It's about getting to know people like you.
Agreed.
And seeing companies like yours flourish, and maybe they did so because of something we did. So it has a lot of rewards.
Yes, it does.
And I don't regret one moment. So.
Good.
Well, Joe, I wish
Thank you.
all the best.
Thank you very much.
And I look forward to more print jobs from here in Pennsylvania.
And thanks for including me in this. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.